fire an invite off to Bobby, and then we will get going here with Norvell Pell season, I suppose. All right, let me just text him as well. All right, just 1 second, I have to do something. Okay. One second, probably right there. Where are you? Hey, there you are.
Hey, what's up?
What's
All right,
going
let's
on?
go rapid fire today because I'm not going to be here too long. There's just way too many things going on here.
What's going on?
Well, no, just there's 9 games to go through, and I've got a million lineups, and I can't give away $10,000. But we don't. I mean, look, we don't know what's happening with Utah, so that's one.
What do you mean? You don't think they play? Maybe.
No, I just don't know who's playing. We don't know who's starting for them. We don't know anything. They don't have any of their top 4 centers, and they're playing the biggest team in the NBA.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because the first thing that's showing up right now is Norvell Pell, who's played a total of like 12 minutes this whole season, right?
Yeah, he's pretty bad. But Pascal could get those minutes. More likely Pell. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest, because it's a huge team. If they play Pell till he fouls out, I mean, at minimum cost, it's kind of hard to just say, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense, you know. But you do have Lopez and Len, who you could pick over those guys. The thing is, like, we don't, you know, with the Kings, they've done different things with their lineups. Even if Len starts, like, you don't know how much he'll play. So I prefer those guys anyway. But the Jazz, it is just an interesting situation because they do play big, and Pascal has played some 5 before, but not against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Not to mention, I mean, Bogdanovich has a big body. He can kind of probably try and handle a little bit of Mobley. Royce O'Neal's a great defender. He could probably be a little versatile and guard a little bit of those guys. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out right now, and I don't think we're not going to reach a conclusion on this show.
All right, so I want to throw something out there. I have a guy who could play 0 minutes, could play 6 minutes, could play 25 minutes. If he plays 25 minutes, he's like the greatest play of all time. I shouldn't say that. What are the chances that Deandre Hunter actually gets a full rotation at only 3K?
Almost 0%, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even think – and even if he played 30, I don't think he's even that good of a play. It's not like he puts up fantasy – I mean, he plays 35 minutes all the time and puts up like 12 fantasy points. He's a great real-life player, but he doesn't – he's not a fantasy. Yeah, no interest in Hunter for me if it happens to get there. You know, if you want to mix him in because he's minimum, like it's okay, but it's just it's not the way that I'm building personally.
But are you building at all? You know what I mean? Like you're saying, like you just mentioned. I mean, Utah's not till 9 o'clock, right? I mean, what are you doing?
Well, I have to figure out. I have to get all my things in line. I wait as long as I can. So I have
Well, but what I'm getting at is, I mean, how much you playing this Orlando Washington game? You know what I mean? Because that's a good game to play.
A lot.
Yeah.
So, and like as I mentioned earlier, I think playing one of Jason. There's a bunch of good spend ups tonight, but Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum will be completely overlooked. We know the Dallas game is later, but Luka's going to be overlooked. He's still going to pick up a little bit of buzz probably, but he's going to be mostly overlooked. The Wizards situation is that game is so. If I had to, Cole Anthony's number one for Orlando, followed by Lopez, followed by Okiki, followed by Wagner. All of them are solid plays, but that's the way I would rank them. The Wizards, it's going to be very hard to fade Spencer Dinwiddie. I will do it in a couple lineups, but I'm not going to make that a priority. He's going to be in most of my lineups on both sites. Then, if you wanted to take a chance on any of Kuzma or whatever, I don't have a problem with it, but it's not especially exciting for me. Harrell on a back-to-back could be limited, and they also get Thomas Bryant back. This is the most guys Washington's had available. Just none of them play point guard except for Dinwiddie and Neto.
Right.
KCP you can kind of get away with for a couple minutes here and there. They could play Aaron Holiday some minutes out of the blue, but I'm just talking about minutes. I'm not talking about you can't play these guys. And K9 Broncos asking about the Pascal question. There's no way to answer that question. We can't say if he's a good play. We don't even know who's starting for them, and we don't even have like a projected starting thing for them.
Well, let me ask you, like, what if they announced that Pell was not starting, but Pascal is?
I have interest in Pascal.
Yeah,
I have interest in Pascal anyway, like a little bit, but these are not like exciting plays. You should not be trying to build around these plays. What happened the other night with the blow up game, which we were all over Pascal, but like you're not going to count on that, and it doesn't need to be Pascal, by the way. And if he's out there with the starting unit, it's hard to imagine him doing much.
Right.
So it's not an exciting play, especially on FanDuel where there's really no need to get into those things. I would rather play probably Şengün. I would rather play, Kongu's the center, but I would rather play him. I would rather spend up to play other guys. That's mostly where I'm at. But for the first game's purposes, the guys who I am playing some of, I mentioned the Brown and Tatum thing. At some point, I don't think Al Horford is going to play 0 minutes, like have his minutes just done forever. I know that's been the trend, but there is like an argument for playing him in tournaments today at 5,400, but I don't know if I'm going to get there. No interest in anybody from Indiana for me. Miles Turner would be the closest thing to interest because it doesn't really affect him that much who plays and who doesn't, outside of Sabonis, but no real interest there. And with all these guys back, unfortunately, we can't play Lance back in Indy, which would have been fun.
Yeah.
Charlotte, I think LaMelo is viable, but I hear a lot of people talking about LaMelo, and I'm like, I am playing him some on FanDuel, but like I don't think it's like this. People are acting like this is take a look, guys. See what's been happening since everybody's been healthy for them. There is nothing happening there. One pivot off of the chalk for these other guys is the fact that you have Joel Embiid, and yes, you could put PJ Washington on him. He's going to get the majority of the minutes, but there's a chance that Plumlee can get some minutes if Bridges got in foul trouble. He's an interesting pivot, but I don't think I'm not really prioritizing anybody from Charlotte. Hayward, LaMelo actually probably would be my first pick. LaMelo, Hayward, Rozier, and Plumlee, and Bridges, they're all fine. I just don't think this is the slate to try and mess with fine. I do have some interest in Maxey but we have Curry, who looks like he's probably going to play now. So that takes away a little bit of that interest. I love it. I love Embiid. I actually think it's shocking because of the value coming in at center that Embiid is going to be this low. But if you just look at the matchup alone and the spend ups, I think Embiid has a really good chance to be a highest scoring player on the slate, and he's not going to be owned. So do with that what you will. I'm going to play him in probably 30%, 25% of my tournaments, maybe a little more. And then the other first game is the Orlando game, which I already ranked all my guys. So those are the first three decisions you have to come across. You have to deal with. Wagner, Jesus. Yeah. So let's see if there's any other questions in here. Eubanks is out. Primo, good. No, we can't answer these questions. We have 4 guys coming back for San Antonio right now who have to pass protocol tests that we're not going to know about till later. So there's no way to answer that question. But no, if those guys are back, Primo would be a terrible play. If they're not back, Primo's fine. I don't know why. It sounds like K9. I think you might want to recheck your builds. I don't think you need to spend so far down at these spots on FanDuel. Like this just seems like a mistake to me. Burks viable, not exciting, definitely not a priority. That was that question. It's fine. I actually think Burks is in play. I would like to see a starting lineup first, but yeah, Burks is fine. Admiral worth a punt at 3K? Nope. That's an easy one. Sure, could he end up getting minutes? Yeah, but it's just not a good play. Let's see. I'm seeing if there's anything else here. Okongwu, of course. Okongwu is like going to be the chalkiest player on the slate, just so you know, on FanDuel. So yes, he's viable. Now I would be trying to find pivots away from him on FanDuel specifically, because the center spot is. You do have Lopez there as well. Let me just see what Okongwu's ownership is projected to be on FanDuel. It's shocking to me so many people play on FanDuel. I feel like I like playing on FanDuel, but I feel like there's a lot less on FanDuel than there is on DraftKings because it's so much easier to just do whatever. But it seems like a lot of people play on FanDuel. Let's see.
For what it's worth. Hold on, I just want to confirm what I'm about to tell you before I tell you what I tell you.
Yeah, I've got Okongwu at 60%. I think that's probably about right.
Hold on a minute. Reset projections. Where's value? I do want to say that there are some pretty wild, I don't say wild, like Norvell Pell projections out there. Like I have one place that's projecting for 30 fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
I have another one at 22. But it's kind of ridiculous unless you know what's starting. Like he's a guy I'm not playing if he's not starting.
I agree with that. There's still a chance he could get there, but of course I totally agree with that. But we're not going to know. John Jenkins is asking you if you like Kleber today.
I don't, but I don't hate it either.
Well, I hate it, so I'll say that. He can get there. You need so many things to go right. I feel like to get. I mean, they have people back now. Like Luka's back too. Like, I know he's had some decent games here, but on this slate, I just couldn't do it. But I understand it. He's going to be low owned. So, I mean, like the fact that Dorian Finney-Smith is going to be pretty high owned and he's not going to be owned. Yeah, you could use that as a justification of why to play him. But you're not looking for guys who are hitting their ceilings at 30.
Right. No, absolutely. I'm telling you, this is one of those cases, K9, where I'm not going to go out of my way to play guys like Kleber, but if I'm playing a bunch of lineups and I just scale through it and I see him in one or two, I'm just going to leave him there.
It's fair. Yeah. Derek White's now upgraded to questionable. So is their team, basically. That's
a big deal.
Yeah, I thought everybody knew that one. That was a while ago. That was
because I was still like really heavy on.
Keldon Johnson, Vassell, and Derek White are supposed to be back tonight if they can pass the protocols. That makes DeJounte Murray a worse play. He's still in play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But he's definitely a much worse play. It's a great matchup. They also play a lot faster without these guys. So the whole game is a little bit less interesting, even though it's still interesting. But it's mostly it's a knock. I mean, Primo, Walker become almost unplayable if all these guys are back and the starting lineup breaks the way that it had before. However, they've been playing a little bit better with it like this, so it's a little, I'm a little hesitant to say that. Let's you guys keep firing in the questions. I'm going to answer them as quickly and honestly as I can.
What did you think of? Did you look at Moritz Wagner at all?
It's just a play.
Okay.
It's like really thin.
Okay.
But like one of Wagner or Schofield, could they get? Schofield may not play a single minute, so I don't. He's not viable. But Wagner, like he's good when he gets some minutes, but like I don't. There's no reason he has to get any minutes tonight.
No.
I mean, backup center against a team that is playing like Gafford and Harrell. These are not real bigs. They're just guys.
Right.
They're not going to like beat you up. Thomas Bryant is going to play a little bit too.
Yeah, he was activated, right?
Yeah, but he's going to play like 10 minutes probably.
Yeah. Okay.
But it takes away from Harrell and Gafford, which I wasn't going to play today anyway. But look, if Lopez gets in foul trouble, then Wagner could end up putting up like 15 in the first 5 minutes he plays. Like it's totally possible. It's just not a play I would prioritize. If you ended up completely stuck, I would put Pascal right now with the uncertainty ahead of him. I certainly wouldn't be trying to force in guys from the first game who are projected to play 12 minutes. Yeah, I still like Brown and Tatum as low-owned plays, but they're not priorities. They're just low. They're just guys who I'm filtering in.
And what do you think of Schroeder?
I like Schroeder fine. Yeah, that's where I am. I like Schroeder. I think that it's not like he has to like just because we're seeing somebody at a lower price doesn't mean that they're a good play at the price. But I do think in this case, like he definitely can put up a ceiling. He has all of the ability to, and he can do it in many different ways. I do think Schroeder is a good play, and honestly, kind of surprised by the ownership. It must be factoring in just because the projections are lower on him. But I do think that he is a better play than he's getting some credit for here.
I agree with that.
And when Peyton Pritchard was smashing before anybody gets to that question, just remember that Schroeder wasn't playing, and Josh Richardson wasn't either, for that matter.
Right.
So Pritchard may just play like 10 minutes. And then again, he may have his, yeah, it's not really, I do like Schroeder. He's the one I would make some make more of a point to get to, but yeah. And by the way, I kind of hope he doesn't start.
Okay.
Because his minutes are totally certain anyway. Like he's going to play minutes. But if he doesn't start, you get the usage with one of Brown or Tatum out, one of Horford. They also run some offense through, and you get it with guys like Pritchard and Williams who just do nothing. Let's see. I like Embiid. I do like Embiid to answer that question, but it is loaded at center for value, so that's the thing to try to figure out. That's too general a question. What's the way to be different? I mean, we're talking about that constantly. So if you can say it more specifically, we're talking about all the ways to be different, I think. This thing out of my hat. So the way to be different is all the guys who we're mentioning as low on plays, and then Luka and all those guys. I mean, basically everybody who we just went through. Embiid is going to be low owned. Luka. I like Julius Randle a little bit tonight. I like both sides of the Brooklyn-Chicago game. I think taking one side of each is interesting. It also allows you for late swappability. Playing Russ instead of LeBron is a weird one that I still can't quite get up behind on DraftKings, but I do have some on FanDuel. Playing Len more than Lopez will be lower owned, and you again gives you the switchability. Tristan Thompson officially questionable now? I had him as out. Let me see this real quick, because that would kill a lot of the Len. Len's still been getting the minutes though. Huh? I thought I had him as out today, but I guess not. Just don't be surprised. I mean, leave 100 on the table. Make sure you can switch to Metu in case Metu starts.
Right.
Yeah, I do like LeBron. He's a better play on FanDuel because it's easier to get him in. But of course, LeBron's a good play, but it's going to be. Let's see where he's going to be owned. LeBron is going to be the higher owned, and he's higher priced than the other guys. So I'm just siding with the other guys a little bit more than I am LeBron tonight.
Did you talk about Eric Gordon at all?
He's fine. I did put him into a lineup, and I have Jaylen Green in a lineup, so it's not. Bojan Love, no. I prefer the other Bogdanovic to Bojan, but it's fine. Like there's so many plays on this slate. These are just like guys who are just meh to me. Yeah, that's what I thought, MJ. Thank you for that. I thought that Thompson was out too. For some reason, my projection just started showing him up, so that's a mistake, which obviously makes Len an even better play. Okay. What else? Touch. Yeah, Christian Wood is a good play, but probably look, he's a good play. There's a lot of centers available today. He's one of them, and he's going to be one of the chalkiest. Now, that's enough of a reason to maybe try and pivot a little bit off of it, but it's a good matchup. The price is fine. It's kind of interesting, though, when you think about it, just like from an overall perspective. Like here you have Christian Wood, who's putting up like 27, 20, 42, 29, 43, 1, 37, 42, 31, 36, 36, 39. These are not like exciting numbers for a guy who's 7K. So why wouldn't, I'm not saying to play Podol, but it's kind of interesting that
There's nothing wrong with playing Podol, I don't think.
I don't think so either. But Podol's 600 cheaper and going to be unowned, and Christian Wood is going to be chalk, and Podol's actually been more consistent, like for his price. Like it's a little bit funny if you think about it that way. Oh, look, there's the official. I finally got the official Thompson news that I was looking for. But it's going to be a lot of late subs. That's what we're going to have to do. See, here's the thing, Adam. That's the real question, right? Like the Len going. Is Len going to play? So last time the Lakers were in this exact same situation, I watched every minute of that game, and they made sure there was a big on the court all the time, and they beat the hell out of the Lakers on the boards. And the Lakers came back and won in the end because LeBron went nuts. LeBron was doing very little and then just went completely nuts in the fourth last time. But Len, you would think that they would try and do something similar. The problem is they did lose that game, so there's always an argument that they could not start a big. They just haven't done it yet this season. They always start one of them. So that's the problem. And they're already starting Bagley alongside. So I thought this would be like a Bagley. They just won't give Bagley enough run and enough. He doesn't get any usage on that team compared to the other guys. But, if there was a matchup for Bagley that he could go nuts, this would be it. I just think that's like a save it for the 150s. I don't think you want to play it in your main lineups. Let's see what else we got here. I think I caught up on the questions. Sheets, how about you? What do you got here?
Yeah. You like any Randall?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I don't like that I do because you look at his game log, it'll make you sick. But I like him as a run back with Luka.
Who do you like more at the same price, Randall or DeRozan?
DeRozan's a better play, probably. It's a good question. So Randall will probably be more owned than DeRozan. Yeah, I actually think that's really close. I think DeRozan might be the better play. But at least with Randall could beat the hell out of these guys inside. Like DeRozan, we're playing because they're playing Brooklyn, and he can go off at any time. But it's really like it feels like roulette with the Bulls because that's what and with the Nets, and that's what happens with good teams sometimes when you have that many guys who are capable of putting up a huge number. And you saw that when I almost won the Monster that time. Those of you guys who were watching, like the reason why was because playing Vucevic at 1% ownership. And sometimes you just end up with a guy like that because that's how you want to just take the odds. If he has the same number as Embiid, which he did that night, you're just crushing everybody by saving that extra, what was it, 2,200 or whatever it was that night. The question was so lower owned players you try to use for big GPPs. There's no right rule to that. It could change. I won a tournament the other day where I didn't have any player that was 10% owned. I've won other tournaments where I've had everybody over 10%. On a slate like this, you don't need to worry about trying to force anyone in. You could try to do 1 to 3 in general as a rule of thumb, but it's not like there's nothing about that is like you must do it or anything like that. It really does depend on the slates. And on this particular slate, you're going to have some absolutely like crazy low owned plays that I'm willing to take shots on. So like, well, I mean, like not crazy low, but Luka's going to be low owned. You know what I mean? Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to be low owned. Yeah, Rody was with me. He had the Vooch thing too. That would have been almost really fun, man. If he would have put up a nice fourth quarter, oof, we could have run away with something. The priority for the 10 p.m. games, that's impossible to answer until we have the lineups and everything. Again, I hate to keep saying that, but that's the truth. That's the way this game is played. It's an ongoing, switching everything. But if I had to pick, so I would rank it Durant, Harden, Kyrie, but I think all three are interesting. Maybe you could say Kyrie because he's got shooting guard eligibility and he's the cheapest. For the Bulls, I would go DeRozan, Lonzo, Levine, Vooch, like in that order. That's the way I would do that. But and then the Laker game, it's LeBron on the other side. For me, it's Halliburton, then Fox, not together, and then Hield, then Barnes. I'm sorry, and then of course Len is the value. That's my best way I can do for right now. Lopez, Dinwiddie. I mean, but the problem is, one of the best plays on the slate is Cole Anthony, and as is, Okiki has a huge upside here. There's a lot you can go to do. I mean, I'm looking at one of my big lineups making me nervous right now because I have Caleb Martin, who was just a placeholder for me until more news came. Yeah, nobody's gonna play the Brooklyn guys, and the game with that pace. By the way, I like the under in that game for what it's worth. Seems kind of crazy to have that.
Did you say you like Jaylen Green?
He's fine. Yeah, I said I had him in a lineup.
And did we talk about with these San Antonio guys back, does Lonnie Walker get affected?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? Let's see what else we got here. I've got about 3 more minutes. And I will be in Discord, but it's probably going to be after the locks of each part where I can answer questions because it's really hard to answer and build. I will try to do it, of course, but it's hard to do. I like Harden, by the way, too. I mean, I just think one of these guys has a game here, but I don't think you need to try to force any of them in. It's just an interesting way to go. Like I have the Luka Randall thing. I have some Durant, DeRozan. I have some Durant, Levine. I have a Durant, Vooch. A Kyrie Vooch, that kind of thing. But even just getting starting lineups would be huge for these other games. So I really hope we can get, all of them soon.
Yeah.
Because we've seen some weird guys, like, I don't know, some weird spots. Like I'm expecting Steph Curry to play now. They said that's what it looked like was going to happen. But if somehow he's out, like Maxey, Harris, and Embiid all become like just an incredible place.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get moving.
Okay.
I will. Good luck, everybody, and hope I get second.
All right. Good luck, everybody.